Hi, my name is Patty, and I work on customer success at Amp. And today I wanted to walk you through some of the critical considerations we look into with our partners when starting to work with them. And so, a lot of what we notice is questions from CRM marketers or even product leaders on like how to dynamically create segments. How do you know who you're supposed to be targeting? How do you know what to send them, and so on? Another one that we do get asked a lot, and we'll cover this all throughout these set of videos, is how might we improve customer lifetime value? Now that you know maybe who you're supposed to target, what were the low hanging fruit you can do with them, at the end of the day, we really want to maximize customer lifetime value. And there's so many ways to, cut this pie. And so we'll get more into that as well. But I think where AMP really differs and what I've seen great feedback from a lot of our partners is how might we apply user profile learning back into the app experience. A lot of what we've seen in terms of experimentation ends up just as results or experiments that stay within your CRM function. But actually, all of these learning can definitely feed into your data science models. It can feed into the rest of your app experience, the user experience, even offline. And that's something we definitely want to cover. And so, how AMP works really is letting agentic AI agents figure out what to do for you. A lot of marketers and product leaders face, a huge challenge in getting too much data. Back then, no data, not much instrumentation. Now, maybe too much data, and so it's two ends of the spectrum, and everything in between. But how are marketers and product leaders expected to manually interpret all of this signals and all of this behavior in a scalable way? And honestly, there really is no scalable way to do that. And that's where the agents come in. So these AI agents are in charge of helping segment all these attributes. Think of every user and every event they do as like rows on a spreadsheet, and every single thing they do. How are you supposed to do that as a human? Yeah, that's not where humans are great at. But you know who's great at that? Agents, AI agents. And so with hierarchical clustering, which is what we've been using in our models, it's unsupervised. We don't have to. We can give it. We can give the model our goals and our objectives, and AMP's agents can create and start with no pre-existing segments at all. It's very efficient, obviously, because it's a machine that's doing this for you, and it can consume incredibly large amounts of data. A lot of our partners are surprised when they ask us like, how much data can you guys take? I'm like, give us everything, because it really, the more data we get, the better the agents perform. And I think my favorite part of this all is that it's not just telling you like, okay, here are your segments. It's actually actionable. We don't just do the segmenting, the AI agents do the actioning for you too. And of course, there are guardrails on what you can do around that and how you can help and tell the agent what your priorities are, but it does a lot of the heavy lifting for you. So an example of this would be, for example, you saw all those rows a while ago on all these different events and user attributes and, like CMS data or like product listings, etc. And this is an example for a real estate company, but that we're working with. And they wanted to figure out like customer lifetime value and expected LTV, which is high, median, and very low. And the model chose these three different attributes. Actually, it's I think six or seven, but across all of them, you see viewing property frequency or search intensity or the preferred luxury or preferred property type. And so the model built these out for our partner with the objective of telling them we want to maximize lifetime value. And of course, these attributes will change over time depending on the evolving market and the way the users behave within the app. But this is something that I guess as a human would take a lot of manual effort, getting your data science team and your analysts to help you out, and then of course experimentation. But all of that is done with an AMP and our agents. So this is a description of what it is, and we can send you something else here to walk you through this. So how can AMP help you? Hyper personalization. Because of the hierarchical structure, we can go into very broad segments or we can go into very tinier segments. And that means we're able to look at it on broad terms, highly segmented terms. But at the end of the day, it really switches your mental model from thinking of things like an A B test into like an A Z to infinity test, because it's really what is the best message for each user rather than on aggregate. Like I mentioned, how can you test on a user level? It's really through streamlined experimentation, because you're no longer relying on like, okay, branch A versus branch B versus branch C, because the I guess the variants can go into like the hundreds of thousands. Experimentation as well on images, on not just on copy, but like what images resonate with users. That's something we can also do. We also can integrate with your CMS or with your product feeds so that we're able to do recommenders and a lot of structured content that you already have on your blogs or your FAQs that you're probably not using works so well in content. And then of course we want to make sure that we give back all this learning into our system so that we learn more and our user experiences become better.